I warn you, once you hear this story, the warmth of the holiday season may never feel quite the same again. It was a bitterly cold Christmas Eve, and the snowflakes fell like feathers from the heavens, covering the small town of Mistlewood in a pristine white blanket. I had just finished decorating my cozy cabin, the glow of the fire in the hearth casting dancing shadows on the walls. As I settled into my favorite armchair, the wind howled outside, adding an eerie quality to the evening. Little did I know, this Christmas would be one I would never forget. As the clock struck midnight, a soft jingle of bells drew my attention to the window. I gazed outside, but all I saw was the unbroken expanse of snow and the shadowy outlines of trees. I convinced myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, but then I heard it again, closer this time. The jingle of bells, like the laughter of some malevolent spirit. I wrapped my knitted shawl around me and stepped cautiously towards the window. There, in the darkness, I saw a figure, cloaked in a tattered, blood-red robe, illuminated by the pale moonlight. My heart raced as I recognized the face of our town's beloved Santa Claus. But this was no ordinary Santa. His eyes were hollow voids, and his once rosy cheeks were pallid and gaunt. Santa spoke, his voice an unsettling whisper, "Have you been naughty or nice, my dear?" My voice quivered as I responded, "I've been nice, Santa. Always nice." A sinister smile crept across his lips, and he beckoned me outside with a bony, gloved hand. Against my better judgment, I felt compelled to follow, my feet sinking into the snow as I made my way toward the ominous figure. As I reached Santa, I noticed the crimson bag he carried. It was not filled with gifts, but rather with twisted, gnarled branches, each one adorned with a sinister ornament, a tiny skull, a broken heart, and a dried-up eye. My breath hitched as I realized the horror before me. Santa's voice turned ice-cold, "You've been naughty, my dear. You've all been naughty." He began to hang the macabre ornaments on the trees in the town square, one for each person in Mistlewood. I watched in terror as the once beautiful evergreens twisted and warped under the weight of their sinister decorations. The night air grew frigid, and the snowy ground seemed to swallow the town in darkness. As Santa placed an ornament with my name on it, he whispered, "Your fate is sealed, my dear." I backed away, my heart pounding, and rushed inside my cabin. I locked the door and barricaded the windows, but it was no use. The chilling wind howled through the cracks in the wood, and I could hear the distant screams of my neighbors as they, too, discovered the horrifying fate that awaited them. The night stretched on, a nightmare from which there was no waking. The once joyous holiday had become a living nightmare. I huddled in the darkness, praying for morning to come, but it never did. The sun never rose that Christmas Day. With each passing moment, the oppressive darkness seemed to grow, enveloping Mistlewood in an eerie, never-ending night. I couldn't help but wonder if the sinister Santa and his malevolent ornaments were the cause of this eternal twilight. As I sat there in my cabin, the chill of despair settling into my bones, I heard a faint, mournful howling outside. It was the town's dogs, but their voices were filled with sorrow and anguish, as though they too felt the unnatural darkness pressing down upon them. I couldn't bear the thought of leaving my sanctuary to check on them, as fear kept me paralyzed. Time lost all meaning in that unending night, and I could only measure its passage by the steadily decreasing flicker of the candle's flame. My supplies dwindled, and my fear grew as I realized that there might be no escape from this nightmare. Days turned into weeks, or so I thought, for I could no longer trust my own perception of time. I had taken to whispering to myself, my own voice offering the only company in that dreadful silence. And then, one day, a thought crossed my mind, perhaps the key to ending this darkness lay in confronting the sinister Santa and his macabre ornaments. With newfound determination, I ventured outside, my steps slow and cautious. The town square loomed before me, the gnarled trees adorned with their sinister ornaments, casting eerie shadows. The silence was deafening, and the air grew colder the closer I got to the twisted evergreens. The skeletal figure of Santa still stood there, a malevolent guardian of the cursed trees. His eyes, those hollow voids, seemed to bore into my very soul as I approached. I took a deep breath and asked, "What do you want from us?" Santa's voice, now even more unsettling, answered, "Revenge, my dear. We were betrayed, and now it's time for the world to share in our eternal darkness." A sense of foreboding washed over me as I realized that Santa and his grotesque decorations were bound by a deep-seated grudge, one that could never be appeased. But I knew that there must be a way to break this curse, to bring back the light to Mistlewood. Desperation gave me the courage to confront Santa directly. I stepped forward and reached out to touch his robe. It crumbled beneath my fingers, revealing nothing but emptiness beneath. The sinister Santa, nothing more than a specter of malevolence, dissipated into the frigid air, leaving behind only the blood-red robe. I looked at the robe, and a realization struck me like a bolt of lightning. It was the source of this cursed darkness. With trembling hands, I reached for the robe, determined to destroy it and end the never-ending night. As I touched the robe, an otherworldly scream echoed through the square, the sound of tormented souls, crying out in agony. The twisted trees trembled and began to wither, their sinister ornaments falling to the ground. Light pierced through the darkness, and I could see the sun breaking the horizon for the first time in what felt like an eternity. The world was bathed in a warm, golden glow, and the town of Mistlewood was restored to its former beauty. The curse had been broken, and the nightmare had finally come to an end. The people of the town emerged from their homes, their faces etched with relief and disbelief, as they marveled at the sight of the rising sun on that Christmas morning. But the memory of that night would forever haunt us, a chilling reminder of the darkness that could lurk behind the most joyous of occasions. The sinister Santa and his cursed ornaments were gone, but the mystery of their origins and the reason for their revenge remained unanswered. As I finish this tale, I can't help but wonder if the nightmare will return, if the curse will reawaken, or if Mistlewood will forever bear the scars of that fateful Christmas. For the true horror of the holiday season lies not in the gifts we receive, but in the unknown mysteries that may lurk just beyond the tinsel and twinkling lights, waiting to be uncovered by the unsuspecting.